Hello and welcome to Gold and Silver Assets. I'm Diora and it's Sunday the 13th of February 2022. So I've called this talk today Something Brewing, and I'm not talking about the cup of tea that the Brits in particular like. I know I certainly enjoy a good cup of tea. No, of course we're talking about the markets. So let's start with the US dollar, and so this is on the weekly scale. And we've talked about these two lines for quite some time. So those were drawn on the monthly or weekly scale, zooming out. So obviously see my previous videos if you've missed that. And basically we've been talking about these two lines being of importance for some time, and we're still bouncing between them. So it's been quite a few weeks that we've been doing that. Now, interestingly, it rejected this line actually quite harshly. And then we've had a little bit of a bounce up, but it just looks a little bit on the weak side. Now, of course, we don't, I think that a break of one of these lines will tell us the direction that this is going to go. And I think whichever direction it goes, it will be a substantial move. I'm thinking downwards towards the 88 level. After that, of course, well, we'll have to see. But yeah, so if that's the case, and what we're looking for is a weekly close below 95. So that's this red line here. And so if we get that, then I think this is going to be on a downtrend from there on in. On the upside, we're looking at about 97.5, so you need the body of the candle to close above that for that direction as well. So let's see, but certainly, I mean, it could just bounce between these two for a little while as well. But yeah, the main thing here is that I guess this is an example of how charts don't really predict, but they're a guide. So here, these two lines provide some kind of guide for us, at least, gives us some parameters to work with, but it doesn't tell us which direction it's going to go. Gold, oh, what an interesting week we had there. Wasn't it interesting? Well, most of the week wasn't. It was actually just the last day, Friday, that was particularly interesting. And so we ended up with this weekly green candle. So when we previously joined these two, we were talking about this being an important line here, and of course this lower line, which is even more important. So we didn't want a break of that line. And you can see that price actually poked above it and broke through the 1860 level actually. But the close is actually on that line. So really, I mean, to confirm that that's a breakout, we really need the next candle to close above this line. That's what we're really looking for. So of course, look, we could get a little bit more downside here and then turn up, or we could just go up through here. But I'm not thinking that this is going to break down below here now. I think 1800 is a super important level, and that's going to be the level to watch if you are thinking more downside here. But I don't know, I'm still thinking upwards here. You're probably fed up of hearing me say that. I've been saying that all along through here. Right, this is gold in the world currency unit, and so this is, for me, this is part of the reason why I'm thinking upside as well. And so what I've done is I've drawn this blue line here to be on or above the weekly close candle bodies. So you can see here the bodies close below that line here, just on the line here and here. And so that's obviously a super important level there. And this week, it not only broke through that level, it closed above that level with a very healthy green candle there. So to me, that's a very positive sign there as well. Silver. So this is silver again on the weekly scale. And I'd been saying for quite some time, it's when I look at silver in the US dollar, it's a bit tricky to kind of decipher much from it. And so I have been looking at silver in other currencies, which I found to be quite helpful. But I know most of you want to see what it is in silver in the US dollar. So I've kind of made a kind of stab at this, but it's very messy. So I've just kind of joined these highs here. And so here you can see it poked above there, and it never really closed above this line. So maybe that's the line we want to look for a breakout to the upside. But yeah, as I said, this is such a messy chart. It's very difficult to see much. The other thing you can see is that there does seem to be a fair amount of support at 22 to 23, really. So again, that's another positive sign there as well. But as I said, and we've been talking about this for a little while, and looking at silver in the New Zealand dollar currency, and again, we haven't quite broken out. The reason I like this better than the US dollar chart is that we can track this trend all the way back to August 2020 over here, and it just seems to fit very nicely into this descending triangle. And so I just find this a bit easier to kind of look at and analyze there. So really we need a close above 36-ish for this to be a confirmed breakout. And this is a really powerful pattern. So whatever move we get is going to be a big one in the end, you know. So yeah, watch out for that. But I'm still thinking this is going to go up here. Okay, what have we got here? Silver. So this is the SILJ, and what I've done here, I think we've been in this downtrend, and at the moment we're still in that downtrend. We need a break above this line to start with. But again, this is a very nice candle we've got here. Not much really to add there compared to previous weeks there. Let's just see how it goes. But if silver's gonna go up, like I think it will, then of course this will follow. And the GDX. Now the other interesting thing to note, remember, is that obviously Friday was a pretty bad day for stocks in general, but not for gold or silver mining stocks. They went up. So, I mean, I think, was it on Friday? I think the GDX went up by something like 5%, you know, whereas the S&P 500 was down almost 2%. So this goes to show that when the stock market's down, doesn't mean that the miners necessarily have to drop. So here again, I've just drawn this downtrend by joining that high with that high, and you can see that price just bounced off of that line and closed just below it. So GDX seems to be closer to that breakout than the SILJ. So again, that's looking pretty good. I mean, of course, yeah, you could get another dip here and down here. Well, if you're thinking of downside, then what you want to do is join these two lines here and watch for a break and a close below that line. And so, as I was saying, I was talking about the GDX versus the S&P 500. And so what I've done here is that ratio chart, which I've shown a few weeks ago. And I think before, at the time we were down over here and it hadn't quite broken out. So obviously this has basically come up, bounced up against that line. So that line was done by joining these two points here. So yeah, it came up to that line, rejected, and then this is shot up. And again, this isn't just a tentative breakout. This is a strong bullish candle breaking through that. And so, I mean, there's a few things that could happen here, of course. You could get a little bit of meandering before we start moving up. Sometimes what can happen is this can move up a little bit and then come back down to retest it before resuming, and that's what would form the kind of inverse head and shoulders if that were to occur. Doesn't have to do that, of course. It could just keep going up through. But I really don't anticipate getting a new low below here. So what this chart is saying is that this suggests that the gold miners will outperform the S&P 500. Right, good. At last we've had some interesting things to talk about on the charts this time. I didn't really want to bring out the groundhog again. So yeah, looking forward to the coming weeks. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on in the markets, and it just kind of feels to me like something's brewing here. Good. All right. Nice to talk to you. All the best. See you next week. Bye.